The Institute for Financial Literacy is a collaboration between MoneySense, the National Financial Education Program, and Singapore Polytechnic International. The Institute is the outreach arm of MoneySense. We conduct free and unbiased financial education programs for the public. This is the second video in a series of 3, and it will cover how to plan for your new home. What factors matter most to you when buying a home? Available housing budget. Have you secured sufficient financing? Location. Is it in a mature or non-mature estate, close to your parents or parents-in-law, public transport, childcare centers, and amenities? Size. Are you starting a family soon? Will your parents or parents-in-law be moving in? Type. BTO, resale or private. Which can you afford? Length of lease. Is the remaining lease sufficient for you? It's important to figure out how much you can afford before you start looking for a home. Your mortgage payment will probably be the biggest expense, but there are other costs that you should plan for. When financing your flat, there are 3 things to consider. Ability. Buying a flat is a long-term financial commitment. Work out how much you can afford to pay by tracking your income and expenses. Remember to set aside part of your income for future use and emergencies. Budget. Add up your cash savings, CPF ordinary account, housing grants and loan. Account for other expenses like legal fees, resale levy, and renovation. And credit. Check your loan eligibility from HDB and financial institutions. Here are a few steps to take when budgeting for a new home. Step 1. Determine how much can be set aside each month for housing expenses. Step 2. Estimate available cash for monthly housing loan repayment. Step 3. Obtain housing loan estimates from HDB and financial institutions. Step 4. Check eligibility for CPF housing grants if buying an HDB flat or executive condominium. Step 5. Work out your housing budget based on available funds. Note that HDB housing loan is only applicable for the purchase of HDB flats. HDB flat buyers should get loan estimates from both HDB and financial institutions before deciding. Step 1. Determine how much can be set aside each month for housing expenses. Here's a case study for John and Jane's budget. Their combined monthly gross income is $8,000, and they have a total cash savings of $25,000. Of which $10,000 is for their wedding. They plan to continue saving monthly for their wedding and emergency funds. After saving $1,280 and deducting monthly expenses, there is $1,480 left that can be used for housing needs. To manage their budget, they should review expenses to see if they are overspending and look for ways to reduce expenses. Step 2. Estimate available cash for housing loan repayment. With $1,480 for housing needs, the couple is able to budget for utility bills $180, service and conservancy charges $90, property tax $10, cash for housing loan repayment $1,200. Flat buyers can also use cash and/or their CPF ordinary account savings for the monthly housing loan repayments. After drawing up their budget, John and Jane decide to buy a new HDB flat for their first home. Step 3. Obtain housing loan estimates. For purchase of HDB flats, you can use the HDB budget calculator to plan your finances and compare information on housing loans. The budget calculator computes HDB and financial institution loans. It also shows an interest rate table of financial institution loan packages. This helps you to choose a suitable loan for your needs. Prior to taking a housing loan, you should understand the differences between the HDB housing loan and housing loan from financial institutions, which are commonly known as bank loans. They differ in areas such as interest rates, loan-to-value limit, and down payment. Interest rates. The interest rate for an HDB loan is pegged at 0.1% per annum above the CPF ordinary account interest rate. The interest rate of a bank loan can be either fixed or floating. Loan-to-value limit. For an HDB loan, the loan-to-value limit is up to 85% of the purchase price for new flats and up to 85% of the resale price or market valuation for resale flats. The loan amount will be prorated if the flat lease does not cover the youngest buyer to the age of 95 and beyond. The financial institution loan is up to 75% of the purchase price or market valuation, whichever is lower. Down payment. For HDB loans, the down payment is 15% for a new or resale flat, payable using cash and/or CPF. As for bank loans, the down payment is 25%, of which 5% has to be in cash. CPF utilization. For HDB loans, flat buyers may retain up to $20,000 in their CPF ordinary account. The remaining savings in the CPF ordinary account must be used for the flat purchase. For bank loans, flat buyers may set aside any amount in their CPF ordinary account. The money set aside in your CPF ordinary account will continue to earn interest and may help to pay for the loan in future. Repayment period. HDB loans are capped at whichever is shorter, a time span of 25 years, up till the buyer is 65 years old, or the remaining lease of flat minus 20 years. As for bank loans, the repayment period is up to 30 years. In addition, for both HDB and bank loans, your monthly loan installment must not exceed 30% of your gross monthly income. The total debt servicing ratio, or TDSR, indicates the proportion of your gross monthly income used to service all your monthly debt repayments. For bank loans, total debt commitments, example mortgage payments or car payments, credit card payments, should not exceed the TDSR of 55%. If you would like to make early repayment, note that there are no penalty fees for HDB loans, while for bank loans, there may be charges. Step 4. Check the HDB website for eligible CPF housing grants. Step 5. Work out a housing budget. Using the HDB calculator, work out a housing budget. We start by deducting $10,000 from the $25,000 savings for their wedding plans, which leaves $15,000 for housing. Based on their current lifestyle and expenditure, the couple can then use the HDB housing loan calculator to estimate their loan eligibility. They can also use the housing module on My Money Sense to work out a realistic housing budget. What are the real costs of ownership? For housing expenses, we have renovation, ongoing costs, repair and replacement costs. For renovation, always stick to the budget and remember to set aside sufficient cash savings for renovation. If you do borrow, be mindful of the interest charges from renovation loans and installment plans. For ongoing costs, these include mortgage payments, insurance premiums, utility bills, property tax, service and conservancy charges. For repair and replacement costs, these include water seepage, repair or replacement of appliances such as refrigerators, TVs, and air conditioners. Here are some tips when managing your housing loan. Opt for a shorter loan tenure to save on interest, although this will result in a higher monthly installment. Consider using some cash for monthly installment instead of only CPF savings. Consider using cash upfront to reduce loan amount. Review interest rates for flats bought with loans from financial institutions. Consider making partial capital repayments of the housing loan using your CPF and/or cash savings. Make sure you have mortgage insurance, example home protection scheme for HDB flats. Here are the key takeaways. Remember your ABCs. Ability. Work out how much you can afford to pay. Save for your goals and emergencies. Budget. Prepare a budget and stick to it. And credit. Check your loan eligibility from HDB and financial institutions before committing.